What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another edition of Pack a Pod. And ladies and gentlemen, holy shit, we have a lot to talk about here today. Black Ops 7 Zombies, the trailer dropped, and it also came with probably one of the largest blog posts of all time. It was borderline a novel. There's a lot of stuff we got to get to. It's just me and Jay here for this. We're going to be putting out another episode with all of our thoughts on just the video and everything else with all the boys coming up here very, very soon. But just for this blog post, because it's so big, we figured it'd be better just to have the two of us on here breaking it all down and going through all of the new changes going into Black Ops 7. So, Jay, I don't even know where to start here. It was so long that they gave us a summary at the beginning of the blog post, like sectioning everything out, telling us how we're going to go through. But man, we have a ton to talk about. And I don't know. Do we start right now with the we're back meter where we're at currently before the blog post and then after?
You can give your thoughts on the we're back meter for like right now, and then maybe we reassess post blog post, because I've read this before we're recording. You have not, correct?
I have
You have not read this. So how about where are you at on the we're back meter? Because right now you've seen the trailer, right?
Yeah.
So you've seen the trailer, and you've probably seen some of like the general Twitter, reactions. Where are you on the we're back meter?
I'm very low on the we're back meter. Some of the things I read were atrocious. I did not like some of the changes that I read on Twitter. Once again, on Twitter. So that's that, right? So could be, Twitter is a cesspool a lot of the times.
So let's say on the we're back meter, right? Like all the way over here is we're back, and that's like 5 stars. And all the way over here is it's over, and that's like -5 stars. Where in terms of the star rating are you?
You're
on the it's over side, but how far?
I would say I'm still on the we're back side, believe it or not, just because of the classic mode that we'll get to in a little bit. But I'm only at 1 star, because even some of the stuff with the classic mode, I'm not fully convinced that it's going to be good. So we'll have to get to that in a little bit. But that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at right now.
Would you say you're like 1 star, 2 star on the we're back?
I'd say
like
1 star.
1? Okay.
I'd say
so you're
1
leaning
star.
kind of neutral, but like still slightly positive.
Yes.
Here's where I think we start, right? We're going to skip this narrative overview because we don't care much about the lore. To be honest, this doesn't really give us a whole lot outside of the fact that it says we have 8 characters and we're in this like kind of wacky, like all the timelines are colliding. We already kind of knew that. But just looking at that first picture that shows right below narrative overview, where it has the Ashes of the Dam logo and then like a collection of the POIs, we've already talked about this based on the previous previews we've seen, but at least in terms of the vibe of the map, I'm liking what I'm seeing, because when you compare that to Liberty Falls, aura immediately, and honestly, not even just Liberty Falls, like all of BO6.
Yeah, and not just that. So the vibe we had talked about last episode, Jay, where me and you were kind of like, the vibe is there. The vibe is it's fitting, it's looking good. Not only that, but I do think we got a little bit more POIs than we were expecting. I think we expected that it was just going to be 6. I think we actually there is 6, right? Including the middle area.
But some of the stuff that we thought was going to be a full POI, like I had mentioned, the crashed plane, apparently that is just out there in what they're calling the fog, which is the place where you're driving between POIs. They're kind of doing like a transit thing where, how on the transit in the bus, like you can jump off and go into the cornfield and there's knocked. There's like apparently multiple different locations like that are just kind of out in the fog. And then that's unrelated from the 6 POIs. So that crash plane is not one of them.
Yeah. So I think that's going to be really fun. That's going to be really cool. Not only that, but it does seem that they've taken more of a darker turn in Ashes of the Dam than they have in previous maps. I feel like when you go back to Black Ops 6, there were great environments. Like I'm not going to slight anything about their environments, but they were kind of just places. This one has almost a Mob of the Dead type feel. You've got bodies hanging, bloody areas, things are just torn apart. Very, very raw, scary looking POIs, which I'm super excited for.
Yeah, I am too. And I mean, even certain things that we've complained about in the past where it's like the facility aspect, and I want there to be more than meets the eye. Like, all of that feels like it's not happening in this map. I mean, even on the picture on screen they're seeing right now, if you scroll down to the one that says the environment, you got that pyramid happening in the background with this like floating cabin kind of going on. And it feels like, you know, the crew just pulled up off the road. The zombies are pouring out. Like, what's going on back there? I have no idea. What's the deal with the pyramid? Why is it here? That there's just, this is interesting to me. It's very interesting to me. But here's what we start with. Let's go down to, I think this is going to be the spawn room. We've already talked about this before. We've got the Janus Towers Plaza. And I do believe that we were correct in our assumption that we're actually not going to start inside of the previous Reckoning spawn room, but we're actually right on the outside. And it doesn't really look like there's much going on in this picture, but I do think at the very least it's nice that we're not in the Reckoning, because that was my worry, was one of the POIs would just be a room that we already had for the Reckoning.
That was my big worry as well. I'm very happy we're starting outside. I still don't like the fact that we're even close to anything the Reckoning. But at least we're outside, so that's good. You move down to the next one here, the Vandorn Farm. And what I kind of like about what they've done with these, and I haven't played it obviously, but even some of the POIs that resemble older POIs from other maps do look slightly different. It looks like that they did take areas and change them. For instance, when we get to the rocket ship area, does look a little bit different than what we expected, and it just being Ascension.
Well, even this farm one looks different, because if I'm not mistaken, in actual farm on transit, when you come in, the barn's on the left, the house is on the right, and that shack is in the middle. In the picture here, the house is in the middle and the shack's on the right. That's not like a massive change, but they've changed the layout already. And then also we've already seen in some of the teasers and stuff, there's apparently like that stairwell below the barn. So there's going to be some sort of underground area down there. You can already see that it feels way more open. It looks like you can almost kind of go behind the house potentially too. So it seems like, to me, the thing that I was worried about when we saw some of these POIs was it would be like Revelations, where they just literally ripped the straight POI, and sort of like we just talked about with the Janus Towers like opening. That's not quite the case. Like, sure, it is farm, but they've changed it enough that maybe it'll feel like a completely different and unique experience, and maybe it'll play differently than actual farm too. So that one excites me. I don't know more about what's there, although we did see a trap in the trailer that was like this little baby on top of a buzzsaw that like brings the zombies in. So I'm sure that Richie, our resident trap guy, is going to get a big kick out of that one.
He's going to love it. That first picture though, Jay, on the far left of the family sitting around the table and they're all just dead. That goes more into what we were talking about earlier. The vibe is a lot more sinister than we've gotten in all of Black Ops 6.
Yeah, and it makes me think, like, all of a sudden now, okay, what's the lore behind this family? Like, how did they end up here? What's going on there? And I feel like with BO6, we didn't get stuff like that. Like, think about Buried on BO2 with all the lore of the Jebediah Brown stuff that we talked about last week, which I found it funny that some of our TikTok comments were roasting me because I wasn't, like, the lore expert on some of that stuff. They were very upset that I forgot very specific details. But that just goes to show, like, how deep the lore was on some of those maps. That picture, that family interests me immediately because it feels like we haven't done that. We didn't really do that in Cold War. We didn't really do that in BO6. These like weird kind of storylines that integrate into the map. And it makes me wonder, like, does that family integrate into the Easter egg? Because I don't think it's a picture in here, but there is one shot in the trailer where apparently you see what's underneath farm and it's like this weird ritual room. So it's like, okay, was this family performing some sort of weird ritual? Like, what's going on here? That feels like there's something a little more dark going on. But then the next picture down below, we get to Blackwater Lake, which is a different POI. I think this is where the pyramid is. This is one that I didn't expect coming when we talked about the 6 POIs last time, because we talked about the crash site and some of this other stuff. It's got like a cabin vibe. There seems to be some sort of like upstairs like movie room, but then the cabin is like drifting off into space as this pyramid is up above this lake. And I really wonder, because of the swimming in Terminus, can we swim into that lake and what's going to be inside? What if there's like a monster in there?
Yeah. No, that could be fun. That's an interesting thing. The one thing I looked at too is if you look at the very far right picture on the top, that light post looks very similar to like the the light post from the original Transit. And
Yeah.
I wonder if they would do some sort of callback to like a teleporter with those as well, because that was a weird thing that they added in there. But I do kind of wonder with that. I just, when I was first scrolling through it and looking at that, I was like, oh, that could be cool.
Now, one thing I do want to point out on the picture here is if you look at the bottom right one, you can see a wall buy and it is green. In the trailer, I think there was a shot of a wall buy that was white, or maybe it's somewhere else deeper in this blog post. I saw a video somewhere of somebody talking about like, oh, wow, that wall buy is white. And they thought that maybe that meant that rarity was not coming back. But in that picture, you can see it's green. So there's definitely weapon rarity on the wall buys.
I'm not going to lie. That was one of the reasons why my we're back meter went down a star. And I knew it was coming, right? Like, you know it's coming. But sometimes you're just like, maybe they'll just fucking surprise me. And it won't be the same. It is, which sucks. But, you know, there's a lot of other stuff we got to get to that could make it better.
So then we go to the next POI. And this is, once again, another one that I don't think we had any sort of leaks or we had seen coming. Maybe there was, but it's called Ashwood, and it's a frontier town. And you can see like a church. It's got written on it, "We are all sinners" on it. And in the trailer, you see a shot, because they have these like jump pads of somebody like jumping over this bridge. And this town like looks pretty massive. But the fact that it's almost like sinking into the ground, this is kind of giving me Buried vibes. This town is giving me Buried vibes.
Like if you zoom in on the picture at the very top to the right, and you kind of go deeper back behind, there's a hotel.
Yeah.
And there's also a church at the front end. So yeah, it does have a lot of like buried kind of inspiration in that. So I'm super interested in that one.
And if our theories are true that the dude, the villain, is Jebediah Brown, I feel like they have to incorporate Buried into this game somehow. Because Buried, outside of Revelations, which I think the Buried like spot in Revelations, wasn't it literally just the tunnels that was connecting like Origins down to Mob of the Dead?
Yeah.
It's you literally just run through a tunnel, which is like the lamest piece that is put in Revelations. So that feels like one of the only maps that is like never really come back. Like Mob of the Dead got remastered as Blood of the Dead. Call of the Dead became Tag Their Totem. You know what I mean? Like a lot of those maps have come back through Chronicles, through some sort of remake, whatever. Buried feels like the only one that really hasn't. And once again, I'm not saying that he is Jebediah Brown, but if he is, I wonder maybe if like in his timeline, this was the buried town and it didn't get teleported to Africa. Maybe got teleported into the Dark Ether here. I'm just throwing out theories here. I have no idea if this is true, but it would completely make sense, because if that Jebediah Brown connection's there, Buried's got to come back somehow.
Exactly. We move into the next one here. Exit 115. Love the name. Awesome name. You get the diner down there. And I think, Jay, this is kind of the part that I really enjoyed, is they are bringing back a lot of these areas that on paper feel the same or should look the same, but they've changed them a little bit. You have the diner. It's different now. It's Reba's diner. You got to wonder who is Reba in this situation. I feel like Zombies very rarely puts in a name or anything like that doesn't end up tying back to something in the story.
True.
So go ahead.
I was just going to say, and then like you were talking about, it feels like, and I said this earlier about Farm, it feels like they've expanded this, because you can see like on the two bottom pictures and even the top right one, there's like a gas station over to the right side, and there seems to be a building on the opposite side of the diner as well. And so it just, once again, I like the fact that, okay, if you're going to bring back these old POIs in a Revelation style way without it being like what Revelations was intended to be, which is literally just a best hits, if you're going to do this, at least make them feel different. So once again, I like the fact that it feels different than just the straight up diner POI from Transit.
The next one is the Zarya Cosmodrome. And one thing that I love about this, Jay, and I actually saw somebody tweet this out, you can, when you zoom in, you can see PhD Flopper. And I feel like that's...
Which picture? Oh, on the left. I see it. Yeah,
bottom left. It's such a great callback to Ascension, man. Like, that's just like, that's beautiful. That's like everything coming together, man. It's great. I love that so much.
Here's what I like about this, though. This doesn't really look like Ascension to me.
Yeah.
Like it does with the rocket launch, and especially the area underneath where PhD is, that looks like Ascension, but the top side doesn't look like Ascension at all. I think there was an old multiplayer map called Launch, and that kind of reminds me of this. And so I like that because my worry was they were literally just going to put the entire map of Ascension, or like at least part of just straight up Ascension, just plop it there somewhere, and then it's like, okay, well, I'm playing Ascension. You know what I mean? Like if I want to leave Ascension the POI, I can go play the rest of the map. But if I'm here, I'm just playing it like a classic map. I'm not getting these vibes at all from this picture. Like it looks like a completely different POI compared to what Ascension was. And I'm sure it's still going to have callbacks, like you've already pointed out with that kind of bottom area with PhD. The fact that the rocket is there. I wonder if there's going to be any sort of Easter egg steps they're going to reference that. Like we already know that the Casimirs are still going to be in the game, so I wonder if you have to do anything with those to like suck something up like you had to do back in the old Ascension Easter egg. Because I mean that's like the first like true Easter egg that started everything. So surely if you're going to bring it back somewhat in this map, you got to call back to it. But I do like the fact that once again, it does look different. It doesn't look like we're just playing on Ascension in BO7, which was my worry.
Yeah, I think it was everybody's worry because the Revelations, for all that it is, and it was cool at that time, it's also, hey, we've done this 1,000 times where we've just brought back old areas and kind of put them into a map. And this one actually looks like it's expanded upon it. And if you look back to Black Ops 4, you could say, well, they expanded upon those. Not really. I mean, they opened up doors. That's basically it. I think the best one is probably Blood of the Dead, right? Like Blood of the Dead actually made like a pretty big, I guess you could say Alpha Omega 2, but
it's like Nuketown is such a small map that like if you were really going to try to turn it into a full-fledged zombie map, you had to expand it like crazy.
Yeah.
So like that one's obvious. Like of course they expanded it a ton because Nuketown has almost nothing on it anyway. So
yeah, and remember they did always say from the beginning transit inspired, and it seems like they're sticking true to their word on that. Now the most interesting thing for me is the fog, and it's because the description referred to simply as the fog. Much of the transversal roads, some with additional areas of investigation such as grounded ship or a forest of monoliths, are blanketed in a layer of forbiting mist. The thing that interests me about all of this is all of the things that you could find in there. And not just that, but when you scroll down to the bottom, it says, don't expect a gradual increase in difficulty if you decide to run through the fog-laden areas. Skill and preparation are needed before venturing here, and overstaying your welcome in these zones may result in significantly challenging environment. If they really up the like difficulty in this fog area, there's so much fun potential there. Replayability is a thing that I think we talked about with Black Ops 6 that was lacking because it was just too simple at times. It just, you didn't really, the only reason you go back and play is for camo grinding. And once you were done with your camos or you were done finishing challenges or whatever, there wasn't like a whole lot of reason to go back to some of those maps. Unless you were just doing the Easter egg over and over again or some of the side eggs. If they make this difficulty like way harder in the fog and there's so many fog areas that offer different challenges, I'm so excited for that. Like it's going to be so fun, man.
Yeah, it's one thing that like one of my biggest complaints, and you already know, like Terminus is my favorite BO6 map, but one of my biggest complaints was it felt like there was a missed opportunity with the boats to make it that like more fun. Like imagine the zombies could like swim after you or something like that, or there was like zombified like barracudas or like, you know, something that would make like traversing in the boat more challenging than just like, oh no, the like big toxic gas monster is chasing us and will slowly kill us. I mean like a true danger where the guys in the passenger seat are having to like defend off things jumping out of the ocean. That feels like what we're going to get in the fog here. Because they've already said that like it doesn't cater to like typical round based. So, and apparently based on what I've read through here, like you just said, with the gradual increase in difficulty, or don't expect a gradual increase in difficulty, to me that means imagine we start the game and we instantly go into the fog without like truly being set up. It could like feel like we're playing on round 50 and it's like round 2. You know what I mean? So like all of a sudden now you're kind of scared to go in there, and it's a true challenge of like, all right, if you want to go in there, you can go get to this other side of the map to get these certain perks like way faster. But if you take that risk, your game like might be over here. because of how scary it could be in there. And we'll get into it in a little bit, but apparently like there's like these things that are like the denizens. I think they're called the Ravagers. They can like jump on the cars. You can see on the picture here. There's the bear that we'll get into that it can apparently ram into the car. So if it gets like hectic and chaotic out in the fog, I think that would be sick. And I'm very excited to see what happens. But before we go further into the fog, scroll up to the picture right above, the first picture of the fog. If you look at the bottom left, there's like a boat. And I don't know what boat that is. Because think about, in Zombies histories, we've had Call of the Dead with a boat. We've had the Titanic map from BO4 with a boat. Voyage of Despair. And then we had Terminus with a boat. It doesn't look like the Call of the Dead boat to me, because that like back part looks too tall. And it doesn't look like the Terminus boat to me, because once again, the back part's too tall. So my thought was maybe that's Voyage. But then if you look at like the bottom right of the boat, there's like a hole down there, which feels more like the Terminus boat. So then I was thinking, I don't think it's the Titanic. But the fact that there's just like a random ass boat out in the fog, I'm interested all of a sudden. They didn't talk about it. They just dropped this one tiny little screenshot. And it's like, okay, what's out there now? And they start talking about monoliths, which makes me think of things like Origins. There's like these pictures of these weird plants that are like surrounding this pyramid. I feel like this map might be like way bigger than we are even envisioning right now, because how are you going to fit a whole boat out in the fog? You know, like clearly that's not somewhere that you're going to be driving. That's got to be somewhere where you go off road and you can explore that out there with all the crazy stuff that's already happening.
Yeah. And this is why when we were talking about why we were kind of guarding our interest in Ashes of the Damned in previous episodes, we were saying it was because they have for years thrown out marketing speak saying this is the biggest map we've ever done. And then we run into a situation similar to Terminus, which overall is still a decent map, but it was big. There wasn't a lot of playable area. A lot of it was just water, which you could interact with still, but it wasn't the interaction we were looking for. This one, they've been constantly saying this is the biggest map we've ever made. But because of this fog area and these POIs, that some of which we were just not expecting, I'm starting to feel the We Are Back meter might be going up. It might be going up, especially with the fog. Like reading this next section, enemies here seem to be far more powerful, appearing more rapidly and moving at a faster speed. While you're dealing with this increased threat, watch your step. Explosive growths are also lurking in the fog. Like that's fun.
Like, it makes me think we're going to be driving and all of a sudden, like, you know, Kyle's ass is going to be driving and he's going to run over like an explosive growth mine. And we're all going to be like freaking out. We're flying across the map. Like a bear grabs one of us and is like tearing us to shreds. We're freaking out because we don't have stamina up yet. And they're all like super sprinters out there just coming after us.
Yeah.
Like that sounds crazy. And I'm excited because even like with the picture of the boat, if that's out in the fog and we want to go explore that, it's also not like a safe environment to go do that. But what if we're like, we get to a point where like, okay, boys, we need to go like juice up, get all our perks, get set up, get triple pack guns, and then we're going to go take a journey and explore that shit. And what if there's like a ton of stuff to do out there? Even this boat makes me think like, what if you can get up to the top and you're just like camping and there's no rounds happening, but you're just fighting hordes of these like Ravagers and the bears, all like, and they're just flooding into you. That feels like that. We talked about replayability. You talked about how the camo grind was the only thing that BO6 really had. That feels like replayability to me because that's a whole separate experience from just playing the game normally. That all of a sudden we can do something fun.
It also gives you this moment where you're talking with your friends. You're like, oh, you played Ashes of the Damned. Like, what round you get to? It's like, bro, honestly, we only got to round 11. But we spent about 2 hours inside the fog just trying to figure out what was going on in there. And we got stuck on the boat, couldn't escape, kept ending rounds accidentally. We were just trying to find a way to survive. Eventually we got out, but yeah, we just had a fun time in there. And it's interesting because you've turned a very vague idea into almost one of the most interesting POIs, air quotes, in the entire experience. And I'm super excited for it.
Yeah. Now the one One caveat I will add to all this is we obviously haven't played the game yet, so we could be building this up, and who knows, maybe the fog like kind of sucks.
But it could just
I
be
hope it
ass.
doesn't, but I'm just saying that so that like I don't set my expectations too high, and then it's just not cool. Because like I remember the first time me and Kyle are playing on Terminus, like opening day, and we drive out into the ocean, and it was like so cool. But then like very quickly you kind of realize like what the true limits are of everything, and it wore off very fast. So that's why I don't want to set the expectations too high. Okay, so that's pretty much the map. That's a lot of the stuff that we've seen. Obviously there was some more stuff shown in the trailer, but we'll talk about that in the other episode with the other boys. Let's go on to this new Wonder vehicle. So we thought it said Jesse. It says Old Tessie. That's what's actually written on the truck. Yeah, we can't read, but that was also Jumba, so let's blame the Canadians for that one. Old Tessie is the truck that we're going to get. Apparently, there's like a garage somewhere on the map. I can't remember which specific POI it was. Maybe it was at the diner or something like that. But there's a garage, and I think that's where you can maybe park the car to put upgrades on it, because there's a lot of upgrades that you can put on this thing. In the next picture down, you can see there's like chains strapped to it. There's the little like front grill actually the front grill's there, but there's the Margwa heads on it. And those can shoot laser beams out of their face while you're driving. There looks to be like, is that a Wonder Waff like strapped to the top of it?
Yes.
So you have that, like, and I'm assuming there's maybe even more stuff, because I know the Pack-a-Punch is also on the back of the truck. The Pack-a-Punch is confirmed in the truck.
I found out you have to put it on there. It doesn't just come with it.
So you have to build it. Okay.
Yeah, you have to build it on there, which I love.
Now that's interesting.
So something else to keep in mind with this truck. The truck is tough, but it isn't impervious to the forces of the Dark Ether. After a severe battering, it can become temporarily inoperable. Imagine fog situations with the boys where the truck just can't run anymore. Like, that's fun. That's fun stuff.
I'm envisioning a spot where somebody has some bad driving. A bear rams us off the road. We have to abandon the truck just to get out of the fog to survive. But then that also creates a scenario where we have to go back into the fog for this great journey to recover the truck once it's back. Like, I don't know. This is going to be interesting, because even it says, like, right after that, keep an eye on its reinforced steel frame and react accordingly if Old Tessie needs a pit stop, so you can repair it. So that's like another aspect that we're going to, and I hope that's not like annoying, where it's like it happens all the time, where it's just way too frequently that you have to go and repair it. But that's just another factor that it's like, okay, can we make it all the way to the repair station in time, or are we going to take way too much damage and we got to start preparing for other stuff? And what happens if it does take too much damage and you don't repair it in time? Surely there's a way to fix it without having to like drive it physically to the repair station, I'm assuming. But I wonder if that's going to cost you like pretty heftily, or maybe there is a way where it just like completely becomes inoperable. I'm not quite sure, but it does say temporarily, so that makes me think that it should be able to be fixed.
Yeah, the other thing too to keep in mind when you're going through, there's going to be a lot of like cool little side Easter eggs with this. Most likely, it's definitely going to be a part of the main Easter egg. And on top of that, inside the trailer, you saw like it had just you could ram zombies with it, with the front, which reminds me of like the bus from Transit. But that one was obviously a little bit different. Like, you weren't the one ramming it. It was obviously T.E.D. He's also a part of this too, which is fun. That's great. I'm super excited for the car, man, especially with the added bonus that the fog is supposed to be much more difficult. That was something we talked about. We're like, what if it's just you hop on a road and it just kind of drives you there? Well, now we know that's not the case. And I think you got to get excited for that. Absolutely.
Okay, then we got a glimpse into the Wonder Weapon, which as a Wonder Weapon guy, I was very interested in. And we got some immediate comms from the boys in the group text. Jumba sent a picture of it and said, "Can't give toothy dome, but," and sent the eye emoji. And I responded, because I don't know, you saw the full trailer, right, Wyatt? So you saw it's like a glove.
Yeah.
I said that Wonder Weapon is the 101 in hand job drafts.
Yeah. And we haven't even had one yet. So
I haven't even had one yet.
We haven't even had a hand job draft yet. But this would be
this in mind.
Potentially 1-1.
Keep this in mind.
We've done the gauntlet thing before with Wonder Weapons, so that's one thing, but I am intrigued by it.
Yeah, we have done the gauntlet thing. This one looks interesting. I'm showing like the little video that they have here on screen. It seems like you can like shoot these like shots out, these like spikes, but then you can also call them back to do even more damage. So when you initially shoot and then when you call them back, they both do damage. And then the thing that's interesting about it too is if you look at the bottom, it says it's rumored that the necrofluid gauntlet has vampiric tendencies and can also pull in items and power-ups from a distance. That immediately made me go to the Easter egg, where I'm sure there's going to be stuff that is out of reach, where you have to use the wonder weapon to like grab it, and they could get real creative with that. So I'm very interested to see how they're going to use this wonder weapon. And the one thing I will give them too, in terms of creativity, because we're coming off a game where almost all of the wonder weapons were reused throughout the maps. This is pretty creative. Like, it's not even just a gun. It's not like a staff or a bow. It's not like a typical weapon. This looks like incredibly unique compared to like most wonder weapons we've really ever had.
Yeah, no, as far as just, and this is how they had to start, right? Because BO6, you start off with the jet gun, which for as good as it was a weapon that's already been made before. And really, you kicked off BO6 with 2 maps. Only one had an original, wonder weapon, and you had one that was already used before on a map that wasn't really piquing people's interest in Liberty Balls. The second people saw it, there was instant complaints, right? So now you're starting off strong with the map that fits the vibe, and now a wonder weapon to follow it up. And that's the way you want to kick it off, man. That's exactly the way you want to kick it off.
Yeah. So then we scroll down and we start to get some more updates about the game itself. So first off, they talk a little bit about the zombies. The interesting thing that I found here, which I think maybe, okay, well, they're actually going to talk about it, I think, a little bit later. But they talk about the armored zombies, and they basically said, number one, some of the changes they've made, they've reduced the number of super sprinters at high rounds. And they've also slowed them down slightly because they felt like in BO6, what ended up happening was the super sprinters almost just sort of like restricted the way you were able to move around the map because of how many of them there were. And then also one of the big changes is the armored zombies no longer can become super sprinters. So in BO6, that was very annoying, was when you'd have a super sprinter right up in your face at all times. And they had armor, which at some point, some of your guns just like fell off to a point where they can't deal with those armor guys very effectively. So it's nice that the armor like physically weighs them down. They also said that the armor is going to be less powerful, so it's going to be easier to get rid of it, which is nice. They did say that it'll be stronger against explosives, which I don't really mind that much because I feel like that's like a fair trade-off. I'd rather be able to like do more damage with my bullets, but also maybe like, grenade or like, the pack-a-punch pistols are a little less effective against it. I'm okay with that trade-off. But then also the one thing that really interests me here, and I'm worried that this will be bad, is right here it says at the bottom, should you escape their reach, they resort to a revolting improvised display, tearing flesh from their own decaying forms to fling as grotesque projectiles. I hate the bugs in BO6 that shoot you from afar. Not because they're difficult to deal with, not because they're like too overpowered or strong or whatever, for the simple fact that they shoot you from really far away. I don't love projectiles and zombies, and I really hope this doesn't become like a spam thing where if I run too far from a horde, like all of them start chucking stuff at me, because it's just annoying when that happens.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that one. It's like, and it's just kind of constant too in BO6 that like on certain maps, I think it kind of takes away from them. We obviously felt a certain way about the tomb before that, but the tomb gets really annoying when you have the vermin just shooting at you constantly. It's just annoying.
Yeah, very annoying. But at the same time, I mean, the fact that they're literally tearing their own flesh off it feels like almost like a little more World War II-esque in terms of the horror aspect. So we talked about like the family earlier and kind of the horror vibe that's bringing. The very disgusting, like rotting corpses that are now also like tearing their own flesh off feels like we're going into a very different kind of vibe than a lot of the previous zombies games. So I'm kind of excited for that.
I am too, and I think it's something that maybe they realized that they could adjust, because when you think back to World at War, and I know that you started in BO1, but
Mhm.
in World at War, it was scary, but it was a
Yeah.
different kind of scary. It was you're alone and there's zombies type of scary. It was new, it was fresh, it was something we hadn't seen before. You can't really fit that anymore with modern zombies. You just can't do it. It's also been around forever. So how do you change that? How do you make it scary again? You do stuff like this. And then you can get back into that vibe where it actually makes you feel that emotion once again as you progress deeper and deeper. Now we're on Black Ops 7. So I think it's a good direction change. And we've talked about, we mostly just play the Treyarch, but when you go back to World War II zombies, the first map of that zombies experience had that horror effect to it, and I think it made it one of the more memorable maps despite it not being a Treyarch map.
Yeah, it very much did. Like Final Reich, low key, out of all the non-Treyarch games, is definitely one of my favorite. And even like if we did a all-time rankings one day where we include all the non-Treyarchs, which we had a lively debate about Advanced Warfare versus Infinite Warfare zombies in the COD. And I don't know if you saw it, but I added both you and Kyle and said, I will go back and play Advanced Warfare with you guys if you go back and play Infinite Warfare with me.
I tried to buy it. I tried to buy it, Infinite Warfare, but dude, every Call of Duty is still full price.
We gotta wait till there's a sale. We gotta wait till there's a sale because we're still busy with BO4 and Cold War, and then obviously BO7 coming out. Which, by the way, did you see that they're adding it to the beta?
Yes.
I think my expectation is it's only going to be farm. I feel like they're not going to put the full map in the beta. I could be wrong.
Yeah. I would rather it just be one POI.
Yeah, so I think they'll do farm because that's going to be the first survival map that's going to be there on release. But that's exciting because I don't think Zombies has ever been in any beta ever, and that's literally 10 days from now recording. So
yeah.
I mean, I know I'm pre-ordering it because of that to play the beta now because I was already going to buy it anyway, so I might as well pre-order to get the beta. So I'm going to stream it on the channel the moment that comes out, assuming you're 100%. Allowed to, because that's going to be sick. Okay, let's dive back into it though. So the next thing is the Ravagers, which these are kind of like the denizens of the map, and the description I found interesting because it says a couple of things in here. Number one, it says they run in all fours, usually in packs. Not surprised there, but the usually in packs thing, I feel like, is not something that has ever really happened in zombies. Like the hordes, like typically get into packs themselves, but they're not intentionally coded to do that. So it makes me wonder if these Ravagers like won't attack you when they're alone, but they'll kind of, what it says here, lurk in the shadows until the moment they can strike. That goes back to the horror aspect. Imagine you're like running around and you see hiding behind a tree just like a couple Ravagers waiting for their homeboys to show up so they can like all converge on you at one time. Once again, I don't know if that's gonna happen. I don't want to set my expectations too high, but that thought of like they're stalking me is something that doesn't really happen in zombies. Like it did, for example, with like the astronaut or George Romero back in the day, but it's never happened with like just these kind of smaller special zombies. And I feel like that would be super sick if that's what's happening, because it specifically says lurking in the shadows until the moment it can strike. And then right after that, another interesting thing, drawn to material spoils, the creature consumes salvage and other dropped provisions. So, which is giving me monkey vibes on Shangri-La, where they steal your power-ups.
Yeah, so this is where I feel like this was, and because of the way that the tiered weapon system works out, I actually think this is going to be a detriment. I think this is going to be more annoying than good, because with the monkeys, it was an interesting aspect to Shangri-La, because you could manipulate it in a way to where it's like, okay, I'm going to need a max ammo, or I need a nuke here, whatever. You wait till he grabs it, you can change it. The reason I don't like this is because if they're drawn to salvage, the salvage, we'll get to this later on. I think it takes 2,000 more salvage to get your weapon to the ultimate tier. So that's really frustrating if they're going to be taking it.
I saw the post you did too. It's only 500 more total, because the weird part is they made the first two more expensive, but then they made one of the other ones cheaper. I don't know why they did that. I think they just maybe wanted it to take longer at the beginning of the game to level your gun up. But There's another thing that we're going to talk about later because it talks specifically about salvage that I think will make this change make more sense.
Okay.
Because there's a way where actually you're going to get more salvage throughout the game, but we'll get to that in a little bit.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, we'll put a pin in that one.
Yeah, we'll put a pin in it. I just, when I read that initially, I was like, I don't know about that. And this is where I feel like if you had gotten rid of the tiered weapon like system and you just made it to where guns were good again, I would like this a lot. I think that would be an interesting way for power-ups. Like, let's say you're in the fog, you see a nuke, you're trying to get to it. There's a Ravager, he grabs it and it's gone. And now you're just stuck in the fog and you have no way to get out. I felt like that would be a really fun way to test your skill, make the game harder. But if they're just taking salvage and all that, is what it is.
I mean, they will steal stuff, but at the same time, I feel like the balanced aspect of that is the wonder weapon, because you can grab stuff from afar. So if you see them running for it, it like encourages you to play with the wonder weapon more to make sure they can't steal it before you get it. So I feel like I'm cautiously optimistic about this change because I can see where you're coming from. We'll talk about the salvage thing a little bit, but I do think one reason I think they did this, and I can't claim that this is my original idea because Raffle Waffles brought it up in his like reaction, is the map is probably so big that you're gonna be driving around probably so much and like moving around the map so fast. There's probably gonna be a lot of salvage left behind, and instead of the game just like deleting it when you leave, they're gonna have like a lore explanation for why it disappeared, so that they can save resources, so that it's not like there's a bunch of salvage sitting all the way across the map and the game has to like constantly load that in so that when you come back, it's still there. So now the explanation is like, they're just going to delete it. And what it's going to say is like what's the Ravagers like?
No, the Ravagers got it. Yeah, that makes sense.
So, but it just depends too on how fast they are, because if they like go grab it and they're like crazy fast and literally like the moment salvage drops, they just like yoink it and it's gone. It's going to be a weird balancing thing. But the next thing, and I think this is the thing that we were probably all the most excited about, because this is something that I have been ranting about since the release of Black Ops 6, is the boss zombies. Because even the original ones that they've come out with, like the Amalgam, I did my whole thing on the whole maps thing about Terminus and how I feel like on Terminus specifically, they're not as bad because of the Wonder Weapon there and how that Wonder Weapon works. But for the most part in BO6, I didn't like either the fact that they were reusing boss zombies or the ones that they were original didn't feel fun, like the Amalgams on, Citadel or some of the other maps. I don't know if this one's going to be fun. This could be incredibly annoying, but at the very least, it looks sick. We're getting the bear, aka what's called the Zursa. And when you read it, it says, driven by madness and aggression, it mauls with bite and claw strikes that not only deal heavy damage, but also wound victims, leaving them vulnerable to lingering harm until they recover. That makes me think there's got to be some sort of animation where they can like bite you and like stop you from moving, which is why I said earlier, imagine us in the car, bear rams into us, we're all flying out, somebody gets left behind because the bear bit him, and now he's like stuck in this horde because the bear is like somehow like whatever this lingering harm thing is. I don't know what that's going to be.
Almost really like the Zetsubo guy who could, like, he kind of took your downed player, right? But like, not exactly that, but in a mechanic like that.
Yeah,
kind of.
Like I don't know what exactly it's going to be, but just like there's something interesting there, and I feel like if the bear is done correctly, just the things that I've read through this so far about it, like when you go down to the thing right below it, it says, when the Zursa roars in a combat, expect it to charge in on all fours, battering through teams or slamming into old Tessie. That just excites me. Like the fact that it can like ram into your car feels like such a chaotic thing. And I'm hoping that the bear is like not super oppressive and annoying and people hate to deal with it like an amalgamation, because at least from a design perspective, it looks so cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. When the interesting part about it too is when taken on alone, the Zursa is a towering menace amid other threats. It becomes a mauling engine of devastation. So leads me to believe that you're not going to be able to just take this out easily by yourself. Like, no. I don't know, like a mangler or something like that. I'm really excited for the Zursa because in the original key art that they dropped after the first trailer, I thought it kind of looked like a bitch. I was like, this thing's, I thought it was just going to be like a dog that you shoot, like Shino Numa. And I was like, easy. the pictures and what we've seen from it since then, it actually looks way more badass. Not only that, but it also has like hordes of vermin on it. If you read into it, like it says it has parasitic insects, so-called zombies, BEES, that swarm from hive-like growths infesting the beast fur and skin. So that's going to be interesting as well. Adds a whole nother layer to it. At the end of the day, the Zersa is awesome. The Zersa is cool. Why? Because it's original. Because it's unique. It's not just a Russian super soldier in the middle of fucking Virginia like we got in Liberty Balls. And I like Liberty Balls. It still makes me laugh, though, that there's a Russian super soldier in Virginia. What's he doing there? There's no way he just stopped. Let me just go to Virginia. You know, at least we have something that makes sense.
Yeah, and based on like the vibe of the map with like the forest area and the pine trees and all that stuff, like a big old grizzly bear makes complete sense. I'm interested to see what the zombies thing is, because it says these clouds of stinging death add chaos to an already fraught fight. And I wonder if the bees thing can become like real annoying, and maybe you have to like kill it without accidentally shooting what looks like these beehives like stuck in its head. The Berserk says, I feel like it's one of those things where I'm really excited about it. I can also easily see it becoming one of the most annoying parts of the game.
Yep.
But we'll have to see, because also I wonder like what happens like if I ram into it with the car. Like what if it's charging at me and I charge at it? Like there's just some cool interactions that I'm excited to see what happens with that.
And there's got to be some upgrade to Old Tessie where you can deal with the bear a little bit easier, which I think will be fun. And I think there's going to be so many cool little mini upgrades to that car. I can't wait for that. Now, you already kind of talked about the super sprinters and the armored zombies. So I think we can jump on to the last little thing here, the sliding knockdowns.
Well, before that, the one thing I will say, that little audio cue thing, it interests me because it basically says that when zombies, because like in BO6, as the rounds go on, the zombies do more damage per hit, which just like continues to scale to a point where like you can eventually get like 1 or 2 tapped if you're on like round 400 or whatever, if you don't have armor. So it says that there's going to be an audio cue for when the zombie's strength increases. So I guess at least now you know when the zombies get stronger, but also that change, I feel like it depends on what the audio cue is. I'm interested to see what that is. Anyway.
So the sliding knockdowns, I think, is interesting. Sliding into a normal zombie knocks it down but doesn't inflict a lot of damage. I think that's going to be interesting for the PhD flopper effect. I wonder how that's going to affect the perk. I don't know. Did you read any of the augments blog yet? Because I haven't seen anything on that.
That one I haven't read, but from what I do know, all of the augments from BO6 are coming over. And I think what I read too was your progress transfers. So like I have all of the BO6 augments done. So you will just start with all of them, but you sound disappointed. The one thing is they've added 2 new augments for every single thing.
Oh, okay.
So, and what they're doing too, one of the cool changes, which I'm sure it's somewhere down here in the thing, so whenever we get there, we can skip over it, but is now when you get all the augments unlocked, you get all 8 fully unlocked for a specific perk. Instead of having only 1 major and 1 minor, you get 1 major and 2 minors that you can equip. So I'm a little disappointed from the fact that it feels like they didn't do more to like upgrade the augment system, especially if all the progress is going to transfer over. Because at least for me, having already been done with all of them, that means I really don't have anything to actually research or progress. Like I'm just going to start the game immediately with pretty much every augment already unlocked. So I wish they would have added like way more. I also wish they would have like done more cool ones, because there's some cool ones like the PhD slider effect, and I feel like that almost becomes like less impactful with the sliding knockdown thing now.
Yeah.
Like obviously the PhD slider kills them, but the thing that to me is like good about the PhD slider is those scenarios where like I'm screwed because there's a horde behind me, I'm gonna get stuck, there's a zombie in front of me, I slide into him, which creates a path, and this kind of does the same thing. So.
Yeah, I guess that's a little disappointing, just because I want something, but also the reason I want something to grind for is because I'm in the mindset that if I'm playing BO6, I'm not really getting immersed. If they make it to where this version of zombies is a lot more difficult, then I don't give a damn. Like, then cool, awesome, then cool, give him to me, because I want it to be difficult and I want to have, just more focus in on the map and the zombies rather than the things I'm trying to unlock outside the game. So that could be the trade-off, and hopefully that is the trade-off, because I'd take that 10 times out of 10. Let's move into the jump pads here, Jay. Once power has been restored to the local area, you're navigating around. Aside from bringing some illumination to the horrors you're confronting, you can also investigate several mysterious technical marvels across Ashes of the Damned, known as the jump pads. I believe they're doing some sort of power system similar to Origins, where you got to get the power in each individual area.
Yeah, that's what it looks like based on the picture, because you can see the one on the top left that's like offline while the others are offline on the right side of it. So that seems like, yeah, what's going to be happening here.
So how do you feel about the jump pads? I don't know. Like, it's going to be a way to navigate. I know it costs essence to go through them all, but overall, how are you feeling with it?
I'm excited for it because I feel like what Zombies has kind of gotten into a lull with is just putting teleporters on every map. Like Shattered Vale has the teleporter where you can go from the facility down below up to the spawn. Like Citadel has a teleporter where you can go from like the tunnels.
The Reckoning.
The Reckoning has teleporters everywhere. Citadel's, I guess, is like there's like that slide, and I guess you can also use the cannon. But I'm always just like down for creative stuff. And so I like the whole like jump pad thing, because that makes me think of like Derizen Drac had those. But these look like they have multiple paths you can go. You can go left or right. The only critique I would have personally is I don't really love the look of them. They look like very facility-esque in like a non-facility looking map. It looks very weird. Like, how did these very like technological structures get placed here? Because like, for example, one thing that I know Richie would probably love this, but we've talked about this in the past. The ammo crates don't look like the normal ammo crates anymore. They've made them look zombified. And so it feels like a lot of things like blend into the map. But the jump pads to me kind of like jump out, no pun intended, in like a negative way in terms of the vibe of them. So I wish they would have made them look more like cool in terms of like being integrated, like some sort of dark ether launch thing that doesn't look like a piece of technology, but more so like a spectral force that's like launching you or something. But I don't know. I feel like I'm just nitpicking on that complaint. I like the jump pads though. I think they look cool.
Now I don't feel like we need to talk too much about the saw blade trap. It's a trap. We might leave that for Rich.
That's what I talked about earlier. Yeah, it looks. The only thing that I think is interesting is like a little baby on it, which looks
odd.
Yeah.
But we can get into the modes here, and there's really one thing that stands out that we got to talk about here. We got the standard mode. We got the directed mode. We have survival, which is returning from Black Ops 2. We'll get to that as well. But
the one thing I will say about survival that I think is the only important thing to talk about is there's no quests. So it's not like the Tomb. It's not like Liberty Balls. There's not Easter eggs. There's no quests. You just show up and you survive.
You just show up and shoot.
So,
but the big one here is Cursed. Take on a new experience featuring some legacy mechanics with numerous side quests to unearth increasingly potent and cursed relics. Activate these relics to face harder challenges in exchange for new levels of power, replayability, and rewards. So Cursed. Relic, rewards, and old school challenge, the Cursed mode. So this is the classic mode that I think Zombies players from each side of the aisle, there seems to be a big disconnect between modern Zombies and classic Zombies. Both sides have been calling for it because modern Zombies is like, hey, I just want these guys to shut the fuck up because I'm tired of hearing about it. And then, the classic Zombies players are like, can we get something to where it feels a little bit more difficult, a little bit more like the mode that we've known and loved for a very long time? We finally get it, but it's in a interesting and difficult way to describe. So, Jay, you've read it before. I think you probably have a better grasp on it. What is your understanding of the curse mode so far?
So the first thing that you have to know is apparently curse mode will not be available the moment you launch the game. There's apparently a way you have to unlock it. As you can see here, it says you can't even enter cursed until you fulfilled certain criteria. They have not said what that is. I've seen people speculate that you have to complete the main Easter egg of Ashes of the Damned. I've seen people speculate that maybe they do like a major throwback to World at War and they make you complete the campaign. So I don't know what the criteria is going to be in order to unlock it. I'm not opposed to it because I feel like that gives us something to work towards to get the mode unlocked. But that also, it says somewhere that like you can't matchmake for it online. You can only do private matches, which doesn't really affect us because we only really play with like the boys. But that does kind of bum me out for some people out there that might have wanted to play curse mode, but online and just try to like find friends that way. Because I know like a lot of people do that. You just sometimes you queue up a public match of zombies, and so I hope that they rethink that. But also it's tough because that it's like going to be so gate kept. Like how many people are actually going to like try to go get cursed? I feel like the only way that like the masses all try to unlock it, unless it's something easy like completing the campaign or whatever, is if it's easier to grind camos in curse mode, because then so many people go and play zombies just to do that. But apart from that, once you've unlocked it, basically it sounds like it's the classic mode that we all know and love. They said number one, it is a Black Ops 3 point system. It is not any other game. It's just the Black Ops 3 straight up the BO 3 point system. So you shoot a zombie, you get 10 points per shot. You kill the zombie, you get 60. You kill him with a headshot, you get even more. So you can pick up some garbage weapon and farm points on the map. And I love that initially, right off rip. There's no loadouts. You're going to start with a pistol. There's no mini map. All that stuff is gone. There's no armor system. I'm assuming there's no weapon rarity. All that stuff gone. But here's the caveat with some of this. The way it's going to work, and this is actually, I think, kind of interesting to me, because once again, it's another aspect that I think we have to grind for. There's these things called the relics, and Jumba's been talking about this where it feels like it's sort of like a roguelike system where essentially when you first unlock curse mode, all the things that I just said, like let's say the no armor or like only starting with a pistol, some of those things you can't do immediately. You'll start in cursed, but you will still have those enabled. You have to find a relic, which right here it says each one themed around a totem from Black Ops Zombies history. So let's say like, I don't know, you find like an M1911 somewhere lying around, and that's the relic that you unlock to have the starting pistol. What that does is once you've unlocked the relic, now before you start your cursed game, it's almost like the Black Ops 4 system where you can like pick which things you want. And I like that customizable aspect, because maybe some people want to try a more hard version of zombies, but they don't want to try all the difficult stuff. Like maybe they don't want to try no armor, or they don't want to try no mini map or no pistol, no ammo crates, right? But they want to try the point system. Like they want to play modern zombies, but with the old point system. Seems like you can do that in this scenario because you can select which things you start with, right? So basically you're going to have to go through and find all of these relics in order to further restrict yourself over time. Some of those things, or actually maybe all the stuff that I read, like the no loadout, no mini map, classic point system, I think those are all actually the defaults.
Yeah, that's the default.
Okay, yeah. So those are defaults because I'm reading further here. There's more. The ones that you have to find are things like the limit of 4 perks, the removal of ammo caches. It says those are only 2 examples, but I'm sure there's more. And it even says that they will add more as the game goes. So I feel like they could even do stuff that makes it harder than we've ever seen before.
Yeah.
Like what if they start adding stuff that is like we go back to like straight up World at War, like no pack-a-punch is on the map, or like stuff like that. Like I don't know
zombies.
What they could do. Yeah, like I feel like this opens up the fact that they've made it so you can pick and choose which ones you want as you unlock the relics. Number one, it adds a grind factor, which we've already talked about. Like with the camos, I would say objectively there is like positives and negatives to it, but objectively it's a good thing because that's something that people can grind for that'll keep them playing the game longer than they maybe had without it. So the hunt for these relics, I feel like that's going to be a whole thing that the hardcore zombies community is going to be really involved in. I know we're going to be involved in that because that's what we want to play. Yeah. So I like that, and I like the aspect that you get to pick and choose your experience, because I feel like that also kind of helps cater to the modern players in a way that will let them try to experience the hardcore, like older version of zombies, but at their own pace.
It's almost like a way for the two sides of the zombies aisle to come together and figure out what each other has played. I mean, obviously we've been playing modern zombies now since, Cold War. You could throw Black Ops 4 in there. I probably wouldn't, though. I still feel like Black Ops 4 feels more on the older end of things. But you can kind of come together and be like, hey, listen, let's compromise on this. I don't want any ammo crates, but I could leave in a bunch of perks if you want a bunch of perks. That's fine. Like, we could do that. And you can kind of come together. And for years, there's been this argument. If you go to any of our comment sections, it's just a shit show of people being like, you don't understand modern zombies. The other person being like, you probably weren't alive or playing classic zombies, so how would you know? And it just goes back and forth. Now you can come together and just have a good time. And the one thing about Black Ops 4 that was fun was you did have the custom mutations where you could just start yourself on around 50 or whatever. And that kept me playing Black Ops 4 for a really long time just because I could make whatever game I wanted. Now you can do that, but you also have the cool caveat that you got to unlock it too, which adds more time in game, more unlocks, overall just a better experience because now you have something to grind for. That's not just a camo.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm just really excited for it because it feels like they've listened, because so many of the hardcore fans have said, like, just give us a lot of the old systems, because we've even said this, man, about the BO6 maps. If it was on the old systems, we feel like it would be a very different experience and we would maybe like it way more than we do. And this actually gives us the chance to do this in BO7. And I'm not going to lie, I low-key wish they would retroactively add this to BO6 because I feel like that would be a very fresh, unique experience. And I'm very happy that they're doing it in BO7. I love the fact that they're listening.
Yeah, and it says to each Black Ops 7 Zombies map, we will also add more relics to discover throughout the post-launch seasons. So it's like every map, not only are you getting a brand new map, but for the classic zombie players, you are getting an ability to find a new relic that you can add to your arsenal for all your games in the future. The other cool thing about relics and just the classic zombies mode in general is the fact that this opens up an entirely new area for content making. Like, not just content making, but like if you don't make content, you just love the mode of zombies, you're going to watch some content, I'm sure, and you're going to be able to see people do some things that you want to try out on your own, like just playing these different modes with these different sets of, you know, things that you can do. It's going to make it a lot more fun to watch. It's going to make it a lot more fun to play. It's going to make it a lot more fun to enjoy. So I'm super excited for it, man. And I do wish it could go back to Black Ops 6 too. Because just imagine a Citadel Day More in a Black Ops 2 systems. Like, for PERK Citadel Day More would be a beast of a map. It would be so difficult if you really wanted to try to grind it out inside the castle. Obviously, you could probably run a circle inside the spawn room. But inside that castle, it would be a fucking death trap, and it would be fun as hell.
Well, it also just makes me think back. I mean, we talked about this before. Like, you know, Vulture Raid on Buried, Electric Cherry on Mob. Like, there were specific perks that became synonymous with maps. Imagine Citadel releasing in a 4 perk era and Melee Macchiato came out with Citadel. Because to be honest, it didn't really make sense why. Like, it was cool that it dropped on release, but it doesn't have a true connection to Terminus or to Liberty Falls like it does with Citadel with the swords. So imagine it released on that map. It would feel like I feel like that would be a map and an experience, and that perk would stand out to me like Electric Cherry does with Mob, where it's like, I got to play with that perk on that map, especially because you're going to use the swords. Like, obviously, that would be a must pick, but then that changes the way that you play the game, because it's like, okay, maybe on this map, I sacrifice double tap because I'm going to be using my sword anyway. So I'm going to go Jug. I don't need Speed Cola because I don't really care about reloading. So I'm going to go like Jug, Stamina, Melee, and then I try to get like a 4th perk, like maybe PhD Slider or something like that, you know? Like that'd be kind of cool if that happened, but, you know, we'll see. I don't expect them to retroactively add it to BO6, but I'm glad they're adding it to BO7, and I hope, we're going to talk about the new perk in a little bit, but I hope as the maps go on, they make more new perks that might be nothing burgers in like the normal mode where you can have all the perks, but in the perk mode of Cursed, if that perk can be very crucial to the map experience, like Electric Cherry was with Mob, like Melee Macchiato might have been for Citadel had that happened, I feel like that'd be such a cool experience, because then all of a sudden it's just a whole different game. It's just a whole different game if they do that. So I'm really pumped for Cursed.
Yeah, I'm super excited for it. I feel like I could talk about the Cursed mode so much. Yeah. Like, there's just so much to talk about, but really we have to get in there and we got to see, number one, how to unlock it and how to get all of these different relics. But the more I've talked about it, because I was very frustrated with the fact that I don't get to play it originally. That was kind of why my We Are Back meter was so low. The more I've kind of talked through it, it would be fun to kind of unlock it. And I think the map being as interesting as it is right now in standard mode does make me feel like, okay, it's not going to be that bad. Now, obviously, the map could still suck. and a lot of these things could suck. We don't know that yet, but I'm feeling confident right now.
No, I think it'll be great because, listen, like we said with BO6, a lot of those maps were bangers, and if it just had different systems, they could have been good. So if they can even make better maps than BO6, and we have a cursed mode where we can try the true experience that we enjoy, then that's amazing, because then all the modern fans can play what they want, we can play what we want, and everybody gets what they want, and you have a good time. And like you said, there's going to be some freaks in the middle that they want kind of some of modern, some of cursed. And there's going to be some other people that like I said, I feel like as they add more stuff, I'm already envisioning, which I hope that the Easter eggs are in cursed. I like the main quest Easter eggs. I don't know if it's said that anywhere. I saw some controversy on Twitter of people saying that they don't think it will be on launch, but maybe they will be afterwards. But I can already see, like, because you and I were watching like an Origins speedrun the other night, I can already see some like freaks of like BO7 Ashes of the Dam Easter egg speedrun, all relics turned on. And it's like the most hardcore experience you could possibly play ever. And they beat it, and you're like, that's insane. You know what I mean? So
and that's the content I'm talking about too. Then
exactly,
you open up a whole new avenue for Zombie World Records, which if you haven't visited that website, it's super fun to just scroll and look at some of these records and go back and watch like some of the high rounds or like some of the Easter egg speed runs, no gobble Easter runs, all that stuff. You can add in a whole nother section, and it just continues to grow and grow and grow. And YouTubers like Wonderful, who I love, all of his videos describing some of like the in-depth description of these not Easter egg runs, high round maps and stuff like that. It's just going to make it so fun. Like it's going to make it so fun.
That's why I really hope that they take the cursed relics thing past what we already know and love, like past the difficulty of old zombies to new heights. Like I said, of something like no pack-a-punch, like it deletes pack-a-punch from the map, or it deletes like certain other things, because then imagine those speed runs or those high round runs or all that kind of stuff where it's like literally max relics are on. They make it the hardest possible game, and it's like harder than literally anything that's ever been done before in past zombies. Because some of those stuff's like you could try to do it yourself back in the day, right? Like you could like restrict yourself, like we're gonna do Bowie knife only and see what happens. But imagine there's like cool relic system changes that they can throw in that just makes it like a chaos mode where it's like, if you want to make it hard, bro. Like make it way harder than it should be. So I'm excited.
And I do love that they tied it all back to older versions of Black Ops Zombies. Like the relics are tied to things like that, because when you do finally find one and you like make the connection of what it is, I think that'll be just a cool moment overall. Be like, dude, no way they brought this back. Like, and it's just going to be fun.
I already know, first off, if they make us all play the campaign to unlock it, I already know that all of us as boys are probably going to be doing campaign like instantly to get like cursed unlocked. But I really want us all to try and just find some of those cursed things. Because, you know, I love like the initial Easter egg hunt of just trying to like find stuff out for yourself. And imagine the excitement of like, boys, I found something, like, you know, and it like it calls back to some like Black Ops 2 thing and you're like freaking out. Like, I would be so excited to do that. So I want us to try to do that without Googling everything.
Listen, they'll never do it, but if there was ever a relic where I could bring back Who's Who, give me that. Give me that now. I want it expeditiously. That's what I'm looking for. Who's Who. I just need to hear the jingle. I need the jingle back in my life. I need it. What
if we're just playing Ashes of the Dam day one? You're just going about your time. We're exploring the fog. You know, like the group is fighting off a bear and you kind of wander off to your own and you find, you know, some like random little like building. There's an elevator in it and you hear the jingle just like softly, like, and as you get closer, it's getting louder.
I'm not going to lie. I think I would tear up. Like if I knew if I heard it and I heard like the die rise elevator, but I heard the Who's Who. And then I'm like getting closer. I'm like, it's starting. Am I hearing things? Who's Who? And then I like get closer, and maybe it's just like your character model is downed, and you're just like you hit the
you
revive.
Only hear it when you get downed over by that area.
Yeah, that dude.
Imagine like if you just play the game normally, you never hear it, but then all of a sudden one guy one day like happens to go down over there, and he like hears it, and you're like, and you start crawling towards it, and you're like, I gotta get closer.
How interesting would it be if you could hear it while up, but you couldn't see it or interact with it until you go down?
Imagine.
That would be insane. And
so
then
like,
to
all right,
get
boys,
the relic,
somebody's got to go down. You got to lead us to it.
Yeah,
I can see it, guys. I can see it.
Then to get the relic, you have to revive yourself in the who's who with just the pistol, and maybe it's in the fog and it's hard as fuck. I don't care what it is. Yeah, I would, I would love
that.
it.
Actually, that even makes me think. I wonder if it's going to be more than just like find the thing. Like, I wonder if there's like certain things you have to do to unlock it. That'd be cool.
I hope it is.
Okay, we still have a lot to go on this, so let's keep trudging. We don't really need to talk about the rest of the modes because they're pretty much all the same. We also don't really need to talk about the loadouts because, to be honest, like the only big change there is you can do like build codes now, so that's kind of cool because I guess then for like Easter eggs, I don't have to sit there and tell y'all what Raffle Waffles is like recommending on your random ass shotgun for the boss fight. I can just send y'all the code, you can pop it in, and boom, you have the build. So that's cool.
Yeah.
Also, they did make some. This is for you specifically. They made some melee weapon adjustments.
I was just about to say before you move on.
Yeah, they allow them to inflict critical, which is cool because you couldn't do that with the other punches. And they have more damaging attacks, which from what I saw online, it seems like there's a heavy attack you can do now. Like there's the quick punch, but there's also like a charged heavy attack you can do that does more damage. So
I'm all over that.
That's interesting.
I'm all over that. If I could ever run a zombies match where I have melee macchiato and who's who at the same time, oh my God.
Well, bro, imagine like a fog melee only run that we could do one day. You know what I mean? Like
insane.
That'd be insane. That'd be great. We have to fighting bears with our fist, you know, like with a knife and a bat. Okay, so this is where we get into like a lot of the system stuff, this part 3 section. So let's start off with the salvage, and this is the big change that I wanted to talk to you about. Number 1, the essence, all that kind of stuff, that's all pretty much the same in terms of like how you gain points, you spend them, blah, blah, blah. But with the salvage, the one change that they have added now is that, which I don't know if I see, I don't know if I see it here. Where is it? Here it is. Okay, amassing missed salvage. So it's under the Black Ops 7 change to Essence salvage. If you find salvage hard to come by, expect some help in this regard. Every 10 rounds, you're awarded around 50% of any salvage you previously missed picking up, and which subsequently disappeared, along with an on-screen message indicating this good fortune. So when I talked about earlier, you were like, I don't like the fact that they're going to go steal all our salvage. They will steal it, but every 10 rounds or so, you will get 50% of it back. So I think that'll balance it out a little bit at the very least.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, yeah, I didn't see that before. That makes it like not that bad. That makes it not that bad.
Now, the one downside about the salvage thing, and I don't like that they did this, is right above that, you see they changed the silencer attachment so that it now gives you less salvage.
Okay.
And the reason I don't like that is the one thing that I feel like they're completely missing with the loadout system that I think would actually make modern, like old classic fans dive into it a little bit more is if the attachments were more useful. Like I don't care about like recoil control and stuff like that in zombies. Like it's Call of Duty. Most of these guns don't need it anyway. And especially in zombies mode where I'm usually shooting stuff point blank. Like I don't need a barrel that increases my bullet velocity. Who cares? Like I'm playing zombies. The silencer giving you salvage is one of like the only cool attachments. There's like some dragon breath on shotguns that's cool. There's some like different like fast mags that are kind of cool in the way that they changed the LMG. So it's now like an overheat mechanic instead of like having to fully reload it. Some of that stuff is really sick. But I feel like instead of nerfing the silencer, why don't you just make all the other attachments like way cooler in the way that they actually affect the zombies mode? Like, don't make it so that the one attachment that feels like it's cater-made for zombies and the fact that it gives us something cool and we all want to use it now, don't reduce that just to like try to force us to use the other ones, because I still think almost everybody's still going to use the silencer. Who cares about the recoil bonuses of the other muzzle attachments, you know? Instead, make the other muzzle attachments do more stuff, you know? Like that feels like such an obvious home run.
The aim assist in zombies is so prominent. Like you just
Yeah.
don't need half the things that they say.
You don't, yeah. So make more zombie specific attachments. Like they did say that there will be certain attachment combos that are going to be better against like armored zombies, for example. So that's a step in the right direction. Give us more stuff like that. Make certain attachments on guns that are like better against the elite tier, the boss tier. You know, make certain ones that are better against like the special zombies. Make certain ones that are better for boss fights. Like make it a true like if I'm going to build a gun, I'm picking and choosing it based on the scenario that I want it, because then all of a sudden, like maybe I'll have one gun that I pick and all the attachments I put on there are for specifically the bear, and I can kill him faster because like this LMG is good for killing him. But then my other gun is just for killing normal zombies. And now there's like more creativity for the attachments. I wish they would do that. And I don't think they're going to fully. So I don't, because of this silencer change, I don't like that.
Yeah. Getting into the power-ups here, it looks like we have a couple newer ones, and I say newer, they've been used before, but I guess newer to this version of zombies, and there has been changes to some of the other ones. The most notable one, max ammo now also fills your equipment, which I don't believe it did in Black Ops 6.
It did not. It was just annoying.
Never made sense.
Then you couldn't get
to
monkey
me.
bombs back.
Yeah, it never made sense to me. In that, I remember we were trying to do the Shattered Veil Easter egg, and I think somebody messed up their Casimir or something, and we're like, "Oh, okay, we got a max ammo," and then we get it. We're like, "Wait, what?" Like you don't even realize it doesn't refill.
Bro.
Yeah, they did leave them around the map, but it was still annoying.
Well, yeah, but it's like if you waste that one, now you got to go craft one for whatever the price was, and it was annoying. So
yeah, they also added in the fire sale, it reduced the cost of traps to 10 essence, which I found interesting.
That's a W change. I like that. Give more use for fire sale, because at some point when you have your guns, like who cares when you pull fire sale, you know?
Let me see if there was another one. Max armor fully repairs the armor to the maximum tier the player has.
The big one here is they've added random perk, which has existed from GobbleGums, but now it's a full-on drop. And apparently the way it's going to work is that once you as a team in the lobby have unlocked a certain number of perks, then the random perk will become available as a drop. So you can see right here, it says the random perk power-up has been added to the randomly dropped power-ups available. A number of perks must be purchased by all teammates before the power-up can appear. So I kind of like that, because I feel like if, you know, we as a group have bought 30 perks, we probably have all the important ones we want. But let's say somebody goes down, they can still maybe like recover a little easier with some random perk drops. I think that's a cool drop.
And in modern zombies, we know how difficult it is if you full die, which seems like a possibility very easily found in this map. It's very hard to kind of get set up again, especially getting perks. So that actually becomes like a very big factor in the traditional standard mode. Another one that I thought was interesting, multiple power-ups randomly dropping within a single round is now more of a frequent occurrence. I played Black Ops 2 for the first time in a long time, and I've been going back and like playing these older versions of maps to kind of re-solidify my map ranking, which has changed a lot, by the way. But when I did that, I realized how little power-ups dropped in Black Ops 6. They just never dropped. And I thought that maybe it was just they dropped a lot more in BO2. I think they dropped a normal amount. I think Black Ops 6, you just never saw them. Like, it was very rare to get a max ammo in Black Ops 6. You always got max armor. That was the one that always seemed to drop, which makes sense, I guess, for the systems. But you never saw multiple in rounds. Like, it was very rare. So I do like that they added that in there.
And with them being more rare, it made it so that like it was annoying when you reached a point where it's like, I don't need points anymore, and you're giving me a double points, because that just means it's going to be even longer till I get something useful. So I do like that they're making it more frequent. Okay, we go to the next thing where it's talking about enhancements. And this is where it kind of starts to talk a little bit about some of the new stuff that's coming. Well, I say new because I'm going to be honest. This is, I think, the first part of the whole blog post where I'm going to be a little negative, because I've been very positive about most of this, and I am still excited. I don't think that inherently these are negative changes, but they're bringing back Fireworks, which is an old ammo mod that used to already exist in BO3, and they're pitching it as new. They say one new. It's not new. Fireworks already existed back in the day. But at the very least, because we do have a new one, that does mean, at least for that thing's augment path, all new augments for that. They're bringing back once again, they say new, but it did exist previously, toxic growth for the field upgrades. I don't know what game that's from. I'm assuming Cold War because we didn't really play whatever game that was from. But toxic growth, apparently, according to everybody, already existed in a previous game. And then for the perk, it says it's new, and it is technically new. But if you've played BO4, there's a perk that acts very similar to this one. It's called Wisp Tea. And so let's scroll down and look at this. Wisp Tea, it's, I don't think they show the perk, or they do show the perk machine here. It looks pretty cool. You've got the can, looks great. Like, I love the whole aesthetic of it. But what it does is it says, once summoned, the wisp, or sorry, let me read before that. This perk specializes in adding a protective ethereal creature that remains near the player, appearing only after the player inflicts a large amount of damage to the enemy. Use of field upgrades equipment and other high damage items quickens the summoning. Once summoned, the wisp begins to slay nearby zombies for around 30 seconds. 2 minutes later, it can be summoned again. The wisp is summoned after defeating a number of zombies. The number is important rather than the speed of slaying, though, obviously. The wisp will appear more quickly if the enemies are killed in haste. The wisp targets all zombie types indiscriminately, and it also realizes the importance of turning the round and will refrain from killing the last zombie remaining. The one thing I do like there, it won't kill the last zombie. That's a W change, because otherwise nobody would use this perk if you're ever doing the Easter egg, because there's way too many times that you need to hold a zombie, and if the stupid wisp just kills it, like brain rot, which by the way, they've changed brain rot, so it doesn't do that anymore either. W changes on that. The one thing I will say about this perk, that it's not fully new, is in Black Ops 4, there was a perk where you get a dog called Luna that kills zombies for you. This is kind of the same thing. It's not a dog. There's like a monkey version. There's so there's the four major augments. There's the Wrath, the Salvation, the Distraction, the Benevolence, and I think those change which ones you get. There's the Demon, the Fox, the Monkey, and the Maiden. So, you know, for all the boys out there that are maidenless, you can use the Mask of Benevolence augment to make sure you have a maiden. You will never be maidenless again. Never again.
Never again. And really, the most important question is, for people who have listened to the show for a long time, is this perk machine hot enough? I guess that's what it comes down to. Like, is this a perk machine you would spend time with?
I'm not trying to give away too much future draft strategy, but I think this is a pretty attractive perk machine.
It's pretty attractive right now. The colors pop.
It stands out a lot. It's got some great hair. You know, I feel like a lot of perk machines lack in the hair department. Great hair on that thing. It's a little bulky. It's a little wide, but you know, like, more to love, you know?
Yeah.
So
1000%. I don't know if you want to go through all of the augments. Is that something we want to do?
No, we don't have to go through all of this, but the one thing I want to add on the perk thing, because this is something that I think you will like as a buried fan. Scroll down to the minor augment of this perk, and this is insane to me. This is a minor augment. It's called the Zombie Sitter. The Wisp will attract and avoid damaging the last zombie in the round until the round times out. That's basically what Leroy did, where he would pick up the crawler for you and just hold him. Obviously, it doesn't save him the entire time, but that's low-key a goated augment to be a minor augment. Like, everyone should be running that thing, because that means when the last zombie's there, the Wisp is just going to go hang out with it, and we can go do our step. We don't need somebody to just camp on it, you know?
Not just pretty that, sick. But also just for exploring the map. I mean, like, how many times have you wanted to explore a map on like a BO2, but you just can't because the zombie's just going to die?
Yeah.
Like, for me, I just like walking around sometimes and looking at things, and you know, I can't do that all the time in like those types of games. That is interesting. That is really interesting. I'm excited for it. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, absolutely. For like most of the rest of these things, I think we can skip a lot of them. I feel like there's just certain highlights I want to hit here. Let's go down to which one of the ammo caches? They show a picture of the ammo cache here, which is why I want to go here, because we've talked about this one before. There's the ammo crates just kind of take you out of it. You know what I mean? They take you out of it. Like, it's very annoying when you have to sit there and like you're trying to get into the theme of the map and there's like a Warzone ammo crate sitting there. You know what I mean? So this picture, it feels more in the vibe of the map, And I hope they change the ammo caches depending on each map, because that looks like kind of an old Western style ammo crate that feels more zombified. If that's what it looks like on every map, I'm still okay with that. But I feel like it won't work as well. Like, that doesn't look like the style of an ammo crate that I'd want to see on like a volcano map next to a Japanese temple in the 1600s. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But at the same time, I guess what kind of ammo crate could you do from 1600s Japan that would make sense? I don't know.
Yeah.
But at the very least, I think it's cool that they made it look different.
Did we want to talk about the WunderFizz update?
Yes. Also, before we move on from the ammo cache, to forget, you can also now buy ammo off the wall.
I saw that and I liked that change. That's big.
Because that's been very annoying that you had to go to the ammo crates. You don't have to do that now. If you bought a wall weapon, you can buy it off the wall. Where's the WunderFizz on here? Did I skip over it? Is that why?
It's right past Wisp Tea. It's the first thing after Wisp Tea. Basically, the WunderFizz, the base purchase price of a Perka-Cola is based on previously purchased perks and increases to the price now. Don't include the ones you may have obtained for free using like the power up or GobbleGums or whatever. In Black Ops 6, the WunderFizz became available at round 25, but in Black Ops 7, the arrival of the WunderFizz machine is dependent on how you and your teammates. It now also arrives after a certain number of perks have been bought, including repurchases by all the players. I kind of like that.
I'm a big fan of that change, and I was talking about it with someone in the Discord, which shout out the Discord, shameless plug, go join it. Make sure you're voting on all our drafts. I don't know if the votes still go in the other one, but it looks like Jumbo's probably going to win. Spoiler alert.
Boo.
But the thing I like about that and the example I gave in the Discord was you have always been the guy that I think has disliked the round 25 thing the most because of Melee Macchiato being gatekept on certain maps like Shattered Veil, because it's not like on the map already. So if you wanted to do your Melee thing that you like to do, you got to wait till round 25.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly how many perks it's going to require in order for it to appear. But if we all speed run perks and you can get it on round 15, I think that's an absolute W. I'm a big fan of that.
Yeah.
Especially since I hope that the WunderFizz doesn't work like that, at least on Cursed, because I feel like on Cursed, I was also saying to the person in the Discord, I want it to kind of be the old WunderFizz. I don't think that's going to happen because they didn't mention that's the case. But I would like it to be like the randomized version instead of the version where you can pick whatever you want. It's not a deal breaker for me, but I do think in Curse that'd be cool. But at least in like the normal zombies mode, I think this is sick. I think this is a way better version than the round 25 thing.
That would be a fantastic relic. That would be a fantastic relic to have.
And that's what I'm saying. They can do like so many things with those relics and make them like really cool. I'd be a big fan. And imagine too is like the old looking WunderFizz where it like actually like physically spins the bottles and then one just appears. That'd be really cool.
Now, GobbleGums.
Yeah.
Was there anything major to the GobbleGums, or is it kind of just the same?
They're pretty much the same. The only major differences was number one, there's a way where you can essentially, I'm trying to read and see if it was written down in here. There's a way where you can like almost like get rid of your GobbleGum. Oh, here it is. An acquired taste under the Black Ops 7 changes. You can now recycle any GobbleGum and convert them into essence. So let's say you don't like, you have a lot of this specific GobbleGum and you don't care about them and you don't want to use them. You load into the game with them and I can now like sell it for money. I think that's a cool change because then like on certain Easter egg runs where like we're just trying to like speed up how we get points. If you're like, I only have 4 GobbleGums that I care about, I'm just gonna have a 5th one. You can just like have a 5th one that you can just start selling for essence if you want, if you really don't ever plan to use it. Because some of those GobbleGums, to be honest, like I'm never gonna use them. Just like straight up, some of them suck. So there's that change that's cool. Also, one change that I think is good is it says when multiple players are accessing a GobbleGum machine, expect a small cooldown every time you obtain a GobbleGum to allow the other teammates a chance to interact with the machine, because I complained about this on BO6. I can just sit there and spam it forever, over and over and over again. So at least this means like if my teammates want to come use it, there is somewhat of a cooldown because I can't just sit there and recycle over and over and over until I get what I want. Yeah. Then the final thing that's cool is there's a new GobbleGum, because do you remember the old GobbleGum shopping free where you get it, you can open all the doors for like a 2-minute timer? They didn't bring that back, but they brought back one, or not brought back, they added a new one where you just get 30,000 points instantly.
I saw that gift card.
Yeah, and I'm a fan of that because I don't know, like shopping free. If we're not going to get that, at least give us something that just like gives us a ton of points. Boom, that gives us a ton of points. Because bro, how many times in the Easter egg runs have we been doing the like shared profit sharing? Because we're just trying to like get points faster, just like go so we just do the boss fight.
Exactly.
Like, and now it's like I'm just gonna bring in a gift card, bro. I'm bringing in a gift card, and I'm gonna do my thing. I'm gonna get it.
Yeah.
Boom. There you go.
Moving on from the gums, we got the Rampage Inducer. They brought it back. The zombies spawn faster, move faster, and are more aggressive. Reduces the delay between rounds, and all players must vote to activate the Rampage Inducer. It can also be turned off. In BO7, the Rampage Inducer won't spawn the fastest moving zombie super sprinters until round 20.
Yeah, I'm a fan of that change of the super sprinters because they did start to spawn them in like really fast on the old Rampage Inducer, which made it a little overwhelming because I would always turn it on to like round 5 and then turn it off because it's like, okay, I reach a point where they're coming so fast. Pause.
Hot.
Where and I'm not like set up enough yet where I've got to turn it off. So now I feel like this might make it so like now imagine once again we're trying to make the game super hard. If the Rampage Inducer is in the cursed mode, imagine you're like cursed mode, all relics, Easter egg speed run, Rampage Inducer only. Like
Yeah.
just make the game crazy hard.
It would make it crazy difficult.
Yeah.
Now, the wall buys, the really major thing here is they combined the armor wall buy. So now you can just buy your armor in one spot instead of having to find the purple one.
Absolute W change.
Yeah.
W change. Because that was so annoying that's like, okay, where's the purple one again? Like you always had to remember where that one was and have to go like across the map to go find it when you could just let us do it at one spot. That's a W change.
Yeah, I love that one. The mystery box,
Bro,
looks different.
that's the Origins mystery box. And I'm an Origins guy, you know that. But now I'm sitting here wondering, why did they bring back the Origins mystery box? Why is it in the Dark Ether?
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean? Because there's already some talks about like some monolithic like stuff out in the fog. Why is the Origins mystery box here? Like what's going on with that? I'm interested.
Biggest change for me, and I even tweeted this out a few weeks ago because it's so frustrating. Support items, aka score streaks, no longer appear in the mystery box. I almost started crying tears of joy. That was so dumb.
Yeah, we used to.
What a terrible era we were living through.
Yeah,
so stupid, so stupid.
Also, one change that I like because I've always thought this was dumb: no more melee weapons in the mystery box.
Also, that
if I'm already coming in with my loadout, I probably pick the melee weapon I want. So
exactly.
What's the difference in me changing it in the box? It's not like the guns, you know what I mean? So
now they did add something into the mystery box that I think is going to be interesting, and I don't know exactly how I feel about it yet, but they have added the Aether tool to instantly upgrade your weapon's rarity, which also takes away from my earlier point about the salvage, because now you could just get one, which would be huge. Yeah. I think that feeling would feel similar to like the monkeys, getting the monkeys in older Call of Duties, right? Like it would feel really good. Now, obviously, it kind of loses its luster like deep into games, but if you're playing deep into games, you lose a teammate and he has to come back, you have that opportunity. Although I think the box for the most part in later rounds just gives you gold weapons.
I was gonna say, like usually the box isn't really valuable in the later rounds anyway, but you know, let's say for some reason like you did get a purple weapon, then all of a sudden it pulls an Aether tool next. Like that's a cool thing. I'm okay with that being in there because if they're not gonna have like the monkeys or the Casimirs in the box, I do like having something that's not just straight guns that's useful, but I don't want it to be the score streaks. I don't want it to be melee weapons do that. And the one last thing for the box that I'll add that I like, the chance to obtain wonder weapons now gradually increases a bit more than previously as rounds progress. So if it's rounds, like, because, bro, how many times have we played Shattered Veil and you and Kyle have sat there hitting the box trying to get the Wonder Waff and you just never get it?
Still now, at the very least, I haven't gotten it.
So now there's a slightly higher chance as the rounds go on that you'll pull that Wonder Waff. Maybe.
Still to this day, I have not gotten it. It's insane to me. I haven't gotten it. Like I just wanted to test it out once and just be like, okay, I tried it. And I know it's going to feel the exact same, but I still to this day on Shattered Veil have not pulled the Wonder Waffle out of the fucking box. It's absolutely insane. Now, moving on into the crafting tables and the equipment, I told myself if most of the systems were going to stay the same, I wanted two things missing. Score streaks from the box, got that. I wanted crafting tables gone. Didn't get that. I'll take 50%. I'll take.
And I'm assuming the crafting tables will be gone and cursed. So
yeah, at least that'll be like a relic. You could get.
If not on start, at least a relic, something like that. There are some new stuff that they're adding into the crafting things. When I read them, I didn't think that any of them were like that crazy. There's like a turret, there's a cluster grenade, there's like a new psych grenade, stuff like that. So there's that. I do low-key wish that like the monkeys and the Casimirs were not craftable and those were box exclusives, especially now that max ammo's replenished those, because I feel like that'd be very cool. Because I don't know, it just feels so weird that like I can use a stun grenade or like a Casimir and they're both available in the crafter. I know they like cost different amounts, but that's just so weird. Also, I even if they kept crafting in, I wish they got rid of some of the BS. I don't care about the smokes. Get rid of the decoys. They're basically just a monkey, but like a little worse, but way cheaper. So there's like almost a benefit to them. Get rid of the stuns, like all that dumb stuff. I don't want those. I don't want those in zombies. I really don't.
Yeah, it's like the war zonification of zombies. As we scroll down here, we got the injectable disciple.
It is what it is. I mean, I don't think it's that crazy. I mean, we had the Mangler injection, now we have disciple injection. So
yeah, dude, there was a point that you were making about the thing I love about the mystery box too, and it giving you the better opportunity to get the wonder weapon later into rounds. A lot of times in high rounding strats, there is a lot of box turnover that sometimes will crash a game. And I know that those were on older Call of Duties, but you never know. I like the fact that maybe that limits that a little bit more for you. So
yeah,
just a quick little point. Back to the injectables. That was it.
There's just that one. I don't really care about it. Here's the salvage thing that you're talking about in terms of the math when you go down to the arsenal. The difference there is the green used to be 500. It's now 1,000. And then the rare used to be 1,000. It's now 1,500. So both of those each went up by 500. So we're up 1,000 total. But now if you see the epic, it used to be 2,500. It's now only 2,000. So that came down 500. So total, we've only gone up by 500 total. I don't know why they did that change. I feel like it's going to take you longer to get to green and blue, but now you'll get out of blue faster to purple. So I guess it's maybe just a slight balance change that they felt was needed to like take longer to upgrade the gun early game, but then you progress quicker late game. I don't know.
So moving on into the Pack-a-Punch machine, for the most part, everything has stayed the same. It is still a 3-pack system. You do get the camo on it. In Ashes of the Damned, though, there is one important difference to the Pack-a-Punch. It's mobile, being clamped to the exhaust as an upgrade to Old Tessie, the Wonder Vehicle. So that's going to be fun. I like the fact that they've added it to Old Tessie, making that car a little bit more important. Pack-a-Punch machines returning to more expected stationary position during survival mode matches. You can enable or disable the Pack-a-Punch weapon camos in the menu, and then there are more investigations needed to fully understand the secrets of Pack-a-Punch in Black Ops 7. I like that. I like that little tease.
One change that I'm interested if this is an actual change. If you read here and the thing, it says, weapons can be enhanced up to 3 times each tier, boosting damage, which we already know has always done that. But then it says ammo capacity. In the old zombie, like BO6, it only increased the ammo capacity on the first pack, not all 3. I wonder if that's what that means, if each tier will boost ammo capacity every single time, or if it's just weird wording and it still means like BO6, where it's just like just the first pack increases it and the other ones don't. Because that has been my complaint with some guns, is that like at certain points in the game, the ammo capacity does kind of suck. So if every single tier increases it, that would be cool.
I had a discussion with the Discord already. By the way, the entire time we've been recording, this Discord's been absolutely popping the fuck off. I have not been able to read some of these. Join the Cord, baby. Join the Cord. Important discussion here with the T.E.D tasks. Is it T.E.D tasks or SAM trials? Which is the better name? Who you got?
Here's the thing. I like the fact that it's centered around T.E.D. I didn't really care about like the branding of SAM trials. I agree with what I can't remember who said in the Cord. the word task is throwing me off.
Mm.
It sounds a little too corny. Sam Trials sounds cooler, but I don't think they wanted to like use the word trials again, so they went with tasks. I don't know.
They could have maybe
if gun to my head, I think I'd go T.E.D. tasks.
okay. They could have done T.E.D. to-dos, maybe.
That feels a little worse.
Okay, all right. Just I'm throwing things at a wall here.
I hear you.
I'm just trying to figure this out.
I still think there was a chance they could have just done T.E.D. trials, but maybe they didn't want to. Maybe they felt like it was dumb if they reused
The trials of T.E.D. They could have flopped it around.
If they made it the trials of T.E.D., that would be badass.
That's badass.
I would like that wording.
See, sometimes you throw things at a wall, it doesn't work. Sometimes you throw things at a wall, it sticks. I'd probably go gun to my head, T.E.D. tasks as well. But it's just the S at the end of tasks that just it stifles you a little bit. It kind of
tasks is just a weird word. It's a weird word.
Yeah. I don't think we need to really talk about it's literally just Sam Trials.
It's the same thing, yeah.
It's the exact same thing. Now, zombie HUD presets and customizations. Black Ops 7 allows you to customize your HUD in a new and familiar way and is easily accessed via the zombie HUD preset menu with additional tweaks available in the settings. This includes the removal of the minimap and compass, prompts, zombie health bars, and damage numbers. Pack-a-punch camos can be switched on and off. We already talked about that. And you can even choose to remove HUD elements or all of it entirely.
I was going to say, all of that looks the same to me, except for the very last thing they put in there. It says there are several planned themes to choose from, with some elements familiar to those with long appreciation of Call of Duty Zombies. To me, that makes me think, is there going to be like presets that are like pick a BO1 preset, a BO2 preset, a BO3 preset, where you just get the HUD that looks like that game? And the word theme makes me even think, does it like literally look like that? You know what I mean? It's not just aligned like that, but does it literally look like the BO3, the BO2, whatever theme you want? If they do that, that's such a sick change.
That would be like, so badass.
The HUD is a thing that I feel like is kind of underrated in terms of your experience with zombies, but it just sort of sets the tone because it's the one thing that you have to look at every game you play, no matter what. It does not change across all the games. And I feel like that'd be a cool change if you could like literally pick the theme of like, if I want it to look like BO3, let me pick it look like BO3. That'd be cool.
Okay, now here's the question. If the zombie HUD customization theme thing is true, where you get to pick your theme from whatever game, we gotta rank them. Which one are you picking?
Oh yeah, we'd absolutely rank. I feel like we saved that for another episode if it comes out.
You want to save that?
Honest, I need to like look at them. We need to dissect them.
I already know right off the top of my head. It's World at War. 1000%.
See, I didn't play World at War, so I can't even think of what the World at War one looks off the top of my head.
I love the World at War one so much. It's so gritty. It's bad. Dude, the world. If they give me the opportunity to pick World at War and Black Ops 7 and it looks exactly the same, sign me up 10 times out of 10. I love World at Wars so much.
I really hope that that's what they meant by themes, because I'm not going to lie, if they didn't mean that, that's just like such a letdown in terms of wording. Like, why would you use this whole themes thing and talk about familiar to those with long appreciation of Call of Duty Zombies? That's like such an obvious like nod that it feels like if you're a World at War fan, you get to have the World at War HUD. Like, and once again, not just the alignment, because the alignment you could already like kind of create it with like the BO6 system if you wanted. The literal way it looks, that'd be sick.
Yeah. That would be the biggest blue balls in the world. That would just sting. Yeah. That would hurt so bad. The new Exfil phone booth. This one's interesting, Jay.
Yeah. So we were all wondering how you were going to exfil because you're in the dark ether, and Raptor 1 and Strauss with their helicopter aren't there to like call in to you every time. So, and the thing that I find interesting about this is there's also somewhat of a fast travel system to this. Apparently there's going to be phone booths that activate periodically throughout the match. The phone rings, and if you answer it, a portal is conjured where the player requested the exfil. However, it's going to spawn a high-value target entity and its minions, so you, kind of like the other exfil, you got to kind of, do something in order to successfully escape. The two big changes are, number one, instead of it being like a call that comes in every now and then with a helicopter and you got to do it right then and there, I don't think it's going to be in every like 6-round thing or every 5-round thing that it was. I think there's going to be a booth at any point throughout the game. One of the booths will be activated where you can exfil. That's my understanding of it. I could be wrong. but that's how I'm kind of reading this. And it looks like it's only a specific one, but it says during the fight, all the other phone booths throughout the map start to activate their own portals. Step through these portals and they link to the phone booth with the HTVT. This allows other teammates elsewhere on the map to quickly teleport to lend in a hand. So that's cool too. And that ties in with the next thing. So let's say one person wants to exfil, but your boy's across the map. You don't have to like wait for him to show up because, you know, the other one has like the timer where you got to like run to the specific spot. You don't have to do that. Your boy can just like TP in and help you out. But then here's the cool part. If in Black Ops 7, it's important to decide whether to participate in the exfil or not. If all teammates accept, you should all focus on the HVT, blah, 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 you end the game. If all teammates accept and you fail within time limit, you're overwhelmed with zombies, you're forced to die. New to BO7, if some teammates decline the exfil, they can choose to help or ignore their fellow players engaged in HVT combat. Whether the HVT is slain or not, players declining to exfil can continue in the match afterward without penalty. Players who voted to accept the exfil will end their match whether they defeat it or die trying. That's cool, because how many times have we been playing as boys and somebody's got to go and they just have to quit the game? Like, because with the exfil, you get extra XP if you do it correctly, I'm pretty sure. So, you know, maybe your boy, he's like, hey, boys, I got to go. He exfils out. The rest of us stay. We just keep trugging along. I'm a fan of that change because also I'm sure in public matches, it's been absolutely terrible when you want to quit the game in exfil and the randoms that you're playing are like, hell no, I don't want to do that. They vote no and you can't do it. So now if you want to exfil and you want to get out of there, you can. And I think that's a great change.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. I think that's just overall just I think they kind of looked at it. They're like, dude, this exfil feature when they first put it in was groundbreaking, but there was more changes that needed to be made to it, and that this was the exact route that they needed to go. Now we're getting close to the end here. We got some additional features. We already talked about the melee weapons and the adjustments of that. The health overcharge is a new feature in Black Ops 7. Enhanced health. The most you can raise your health by combined augment effects like Juggernaut's probiotic augment and the stim shot equipment, for example, is plus 100 health above your current health maximum. Overheal. Employ specific tactics and you can increase your health still further. This bonus to your health is temporary, meaning unlike your regular health, it does not regenerate over time. The bonus is lost once your current health drops below the normal maximum, but it can be temporarily reacquired.
I think that's cool because imagine like boss fights are kind of like difficult. Because once again, I'm assuming this is not going to be a thing in the relic system. It could be. I don't know how that'll interact with no armor and all that kind of stuff. So we'll see. But I wonder if there's going to be a relic where you just like don't have to engage with this if you don't want to, if you want to make it even more hardcore. But I feel like imagine there's like some boss fight where you're getting like super overwhelmed. This just kind of creates another layer of strategy. Also, like maybe, you know, there's just certain moments like, okay, we're going to go through the fog like way earlier than we want to. Like think about on Blood of the Dead, right? Once you want to go through like the whole the catwalk the first time, usually you're like, let's save up our specialist, then go through the catwalk once we have that. Maybe there's certain moments where like, okay, if we have the overheal early, let's go through the fog now because we have the extra health and we can now travel to an area that maybe would have been more difficult without it. So I don't know. That's one of those things where I feel like we have to see how it actually plays out.
Yeah. The last thing I got here, the auto revives and area criticals. Auto revive on a new round. When a round completes, expect any player in a prone position to be auto revived. I hate that change. I don't like it.
I do too, but I feel like it's one of those things where now that the fact that they're adding the curse mode has just made these changes to me not matter because I feel like that's going to be something that won't matter in curse.
Yeah, if there was no curse mode, I would be pissed. I'd be like, all right, what are we doing here, man?
Because like the map, I understand why they want to do it because the map is probably so big that if you get spread out, it's going to suck to have to like navigate back to that guy. But at the same time, like that's zombies. Like the whole point is you're not supposed to go like off on your own to a point where if you go down, your boys can't help you. You know, like we played Transit the other night and we did that and we were like, shoot, bro, like you're screwed. Like I can't make it. And that was like a bad move on our part. We shouldn't have done that. You know what I mean? So I feel like this just makes the game a little easier. But like I said, if curse didn't exist, I think this would be dumb because it just caters to like newbies and makes the game even easier than it already was. But the fact that curse exists, I don't really care, to be honest.
Yeah, and then the last thing here, we got the challenges. Basically, everything is still returning. The features where you can pause, rejoin, quit, save and quit, all that stuff. That's all joining in. And then they have a very long section about Dead Ops Arcade that I don't know if we got to get into Dead Ops Arcade.
No, we don't. We're not a Dead Ops Arcade podcast.
We're not
That's
a Dead Ops Arcade
Dead Ops
podcast.
Arcade. I think it's like a fun time to do whenever you want. You know, like I vibed out to Dead Ops in the past, but I'm not going to sit here and go through all that.
Yeah.
The one thing that I'm weird about here that I don't see them talking about is, because I've complained about this, I don't like the pause timer. It says save, load, and rejoin, scoreboard and rejoining features all return in Black Ops 7 Zombies. That's great. But then it says solo pausing and the other innovations brought to Zombies in Black Ops 6 continue in Black Ops 7. That's all it says. Does that mean we still have a 15-minute timer? The 15-minute timer is so dumb. It's so dumb. Like, I don't care about the 15-minute timer if that's like a thing in co-op, but like in solo, bro, I'm playing by myself. The fact that like, because I literally was playing BO6 Zombies earlier today, and the fact that like at one point I paused the game because like somebody called me, and then I paused the game because I went downstairs to like go do some stuff for like, these are like 5-minute things, but the fact that all of a sudden when I come back to the game, I'm almost in a situation where like somebody shoots me a message on Discord. I'm like, shoot, I can't just pause and go look at it because my timer is so low, it's going to kick me out of the game. Like, that's stupid. That shouldn't be a thing. Get rid of the 15-minute timer. If you can't get rid of it in group stuff, just get rid of it in solo, man. That's such an obvious change. Like, that's so dumb.
Group stuff makes sense. Solo is the one where you're just like, all right. And I think that's like a negative byproduct for them for making everything kind of like all live service where there's no offline really. That's on them, which I feel like that should still be something that they look at in the future. But yeah, so that's it. That's a long blog post. We're almost at 2 hours just talking about things that they have changed, which if you look at the grand scheme of things, we had Black Ops 6 come out. They had to pivot, and they had to take a lot of the stuff they were thinking about doing for Black Ops 6, move it over into Black Ops 7, while also creating an entirely new game, campaign, multiplayer, and they gave us a lot to look at here. So I think my I'm back meter, or we're so back meter, I think I've gained a star or two, maybe a star and a half, you know? I think I'm maybe up to 2.5 stars, 3.5 stars. I feel good.
On my we're so back meter, I don't think anything could take me to 5 stars unless the game's truly like incredible and we're comparing this to like the all-time greats. But I think I'm at 4 stars because of Cursed existing. Cursed existing, I feel like is going to curb a lot of our complaints. Some of the other stuff that I've complained about with the previous game, like reused wonder weapons, reused boss zombies, no aura to the maps, all of that looks to be different on Ashes of the Damned. And I said it a lot at the beginning, but I was really worried that the POIs would feel recycled. Those don't look to be, like even the Ascension one, like I said, that one's the big standout one where it doesn't look like Ascension. It looks like a rocket launch site, and below the rocket launch site where PhD, that looks like Ascension, but the rest of the map itself like looks different, and I'm a fan of that because then it feels like more original content. The one thing that I think is holding me back from 5 stars right now is that we're already confirmed on there being drip-fed content. It's shown in the augments thing, and we kind of skipped over it, but certain stuff, like I think it was like Shatter Blast or the Mr. Peaks field upgrade, those are not coming on release. They're coming throughout Season 1. Why? Like, we just played it in BO6. Why are you delaying the release of those, especially Mr. Peaks? We just got him, and you're going to delay him again? Like,
you delay. Mind you, we got Mr. Peaks, but it was like we got a new map before we got Mr. Peaks.
Yeah,
there was like a certain side Easter egg that needed Mr. Peaks to complete the side Easter egg. They waited on it. Now they're taking it away again. They're going to drip feed it back. And the part that's funny about that is you introduce survival maps again, which you could have just used that to drip feed instead.
Which that's the thing. They are. The only survival map on release is going to be farm. And I can already tell you, because this was the thing we talked about in the past, and I think for the most part it's been confirmed based on all the Twitter leaks, all the survival maps throughout the rest of the game are just the other Ashes of the Damned POIs. Yep. And I was arguing with somebody in the Discord because they were disagreeing with me on this, and if other people think it's cool, that's all fine. But I was like, listen, guys, I know that we all hate on the Tomb or Liberty Balls or whatever. I would way rather have a small new original content map, then 3 months after launch, they give us like the Ascension POI as its own survival map.
Yeah.
I don't want that. And I even told them, if you're not going to give us all new original survival maps, at least do what BO2 did and just give them all on release and then don't release them the rest of the game. Just do that. I'm okay with that. Drip feeding, I think, is dumb.
And I think people forget too that when you think of the idea and the concept of survival maps, in the context of BO2, at that point, all we had was 4 World at War maps, and then I think 5 Black Ops 1 maps. Then you get 1 BO2 map, and then you get the survival. I think it makes a little bit more sense in the context of that time. Right now, I think we're sitting at upwards of 50-ish maps, maybe even more than that. And I'm cutting down that number because some of those are remakes, like Black Ops 1 brought back all the World at War maps and stuff like that. So now that concept of survival maps doesn't look so enticing because there's already so many other maps that have their own story, Easter egg, what have you, and you're just dropping a POI that we can already play in the major map. Black Ops 2, that makes sense because there wasn't as many maps and it was a brand new game with these brand new POIs. This one, they are all kind of based loosely off of the original survival map. So it's not like it's completely original, right? Like, it's just not.
And especially since, like, I just think it takes no effort to put them on release. So the only reason you could possibly be sitting there and drip feeding it is because of this whole like new like battle pass style content thing that Fortnite has created, where you always have to come up with something new for people to come back to. And one of those new things that you're going to do is old field upgrades, old ammo mods, old perks, because I'm convinced that with all the perks coming back on release, they're going to bring back like Mule Kick like next season or something like that. You know what I mean? Which I'm okay with, but I would also like to see some maybe new original perks. But they're going to just drip feed a bunch of old content and call it new. And one of those things is just going to be, I've already played Ashes of the Damned for 4 months, and now I get one of those maps as a survival map. I just don't think I'm going to love it. Like the whole reason that people love Town is because they hate transit, but that's the one part they like. So if Ashes of the Damned sucks, then maybe we'll like one of the survival maps. But I hope the whole map is so sick that I don't really care to go play the survival maps.
Yeah, because
really
like, why would you limit? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think too, with the perks and stuff like that, I do think sometimes it's harder for them to come up with ideas that are completely original in the context of this game. But also, like, there are ways that they could package this to make it a little bit better, I feel like. And also, like, I think as long as you're putting out good maps, like story maps, like actual maps, a lot of times that drip fed content doesn't really affect anything when the maps are good and the systems are good and stuff like that. Like
I don't care if like you drop Mule Kick and Shatter Blast and Mr. Peaks all in one season and it's all projected as a new. I don't care if that happens if the map that comes with it is badass. If the Volcano Tokyo map is the sickest thing we've ever played, then I don't care. Who cares? But if the map sucks, then I'm also going to be like, and that thing sucks too. You know what I mean? Like it draws your attention to it.
That's why the Tomb, I think, was such a frustrating experience. Was number one, the hype surrounding it. The map sucked. And then it was like, what did we get in the Tomb? It was like, was it Shatterblast in the Tomb? Was that the one we got? Or was that the Aether Shroud?
I think it was maybe Frost Blast. I don't know. It was one of those.
It was something stupid. And you're just like, okay, you get this dumbass map. It's kind of like, it's like, what do you say fuck me for? The 50 Cent meme? Like, no offense to whatever came out with the Tomb, but when you drop the Tomb, the map sucks, the systems are debatable, and then you have that drop as well, you kind of just look over it like, fuck you too, by the way. And that's kind of just what it's a byproduct.
Yeah, like you're already angry, so you just start taking shots at everybody in the room. Like you're angry at your one boy, but now somebody else piped up. You're like, hey, you know what? And you start going at them.
Exactly. Although you could drip feed me who's who, and I'll do anything. I'll do back.
Like I said, I'm not opposed to them bringing back old perks because the augment system, I think, changes them enough to where it's like they still feel like a new experience. That's the one I feel the least like whatever about, especially since it's been like Like, when was the last time we saw Who's Who? When was the last
Literally,
time we
the
saw
only
Mule
map
Kick?
I think it's on is Die Rise. I don't think they ever brought it back in any sort of context.
Which, by the way, they're not going to do it because the electric cherry thing is still built into the stupid whatever. What's
Speed
it called?
Cola.
Elemental Pop. No, it's in Elemental Pop. I wish it was in Speed Cola. It's in Elemental Pop. I wish they would just make Electric Cherry its own thing because I love that perk and I want it to be its own deal. Because I really honestly don't want to use Elemental Pop when I have to use the Electric Cherry because it changes my ammo mod to all the different stuff. So anyway, I'm okay with them bringing back old perks because of the augment system because they're cool. It's just like the Mr. Peaks thing, I think, is the thing that kind of drove me over the edge. Because we literally just got him in BO6, and you're going to tell me that you can't put him on BO7 on release? Like, that's just kind of dumb.
Mr. Peaks is just getting blue-balled by this entire
and I
game.
like him. I've been using him a ton because ever since he came out, like, I've reached a point where on BO6, the one thing I'm, like, trying to do now is there's, like, a mastery, like, challenge for each category. So it's, like, get 500 kills with every field upgrade. So I've just been going back and doing all those things, like 500 kills with all the score streaks, 500 kills with all the tacticals, with all the grenades. I've been doing stuff like that just because it's like I'm bored and I want to play a new zombies game. But so I played a ton with the Mr. Peaks thing, and I think he's a cool field upgrade. I like the fact that he's like kind of like janky and corny, and like he's just making all the zombies dance, and he's just like vibing. And then you're gonna take him away, bro? Come on.
Yeah. Okay, well, ladies and gents, we have gone a full 2 hours on this blog post, and we have a whole nother episode coming up because we're going to get all the boys in here tomorrow. We're going to go through it again, and I think that episode will be a lot more involved around just the video itself and some of the things we're looking at, as well as like major key things that have happened, like the drip fed thing will probably get brought up again, that type of stuff to get the full perspective from everybody. But thank you guys for tuning in. As always, we'll be back very, very soon. The beta's coming out in what, just 10 days, I believe?
10 days.
So we're going to have all of that
when they're listening to this, but
yeah. So we're super pumped. It's going to be great. We'll catch you guys very soon. See ya.
See ya.